everybody, welcome to the Black Sheep Props channel. I'm Steve and I'm here to teach you the tips, tools, techniques, and materials for building your very own super cool EVA foam props. Now in our last build we went video game slash collectible when we built the Joker's dart gun from Arkham City, and it was super cool. And if you missed that build, we're going to include the link to our channel's homepage in the description below, so you can go over there and check out Joker's dart gun or any of the other cool builds we have there. But for this video, we're going to go sci-fi. So without further ado, Black Sheep Props would like to introduce you to the newest member of the family. Woo, that's retro, baby. Check that out. That is the blaster from the old sci-fi TV show Lost in Space. Or maybe it's a ray gun. I'm going to call it a blaster. Look at that thing, man. That is in all of its retro glory. That is a 1950s, 60s style looking blaster slash ray gun. And this is super easy, man. This build is so easy. We're going to do the whole thing in one episode. So, in this episode, making an EVA foam Lost in Space blaster slash ray gun, we're going to build this whole thing. And we're going to seal it and we're going to paint it all in this episode. And if you want to build along with us, it's super easy. We have a template for this thing too, so we're going to include the link in our in the description below for our storefront, so you can go pick up a template for the ray gun, Lost in Space ray gun slash blaster if you want. If not, that's cool too. So look at that thing, man. It's got the cool cylindrical body. It's kind of tipped back on an angle. We've got all these cool wraps on it, some vent holes, really cool multiple layers on the step down handle there and the look through, and cool little antenna dealy there, and our fin covered barrel. That's it, man. Super easy. This thing is so easy. All right, if you're ready to hit it, let's make something. Okay, here's where we start our Lost in Space blaster. We're going to have a 6mm base, and then we're going to cut 2mm pieces to go on both sides, and then 4mm pieces to layer up on top of that. So we're going to do a bunch of cutting, a bunch of layering up, and then we're going to cut the whole thing out. You've seen us do that before on other builds, so we're going to... All right. All right, there we go. Give it a couple minutes and let it dry, then we can stick it together. All right, here we go. Now, this is the critical part, is we want to make sure that we line up perfectly at our corner, and we're going to line up perfectly down our top edge, just like this. Now we're going to go right down this edge. Perfect. All right, there we go. Okay, flush on this edge and flush on that edge. Flush. Check it out. That's it. We've got our step down happening on both sides perfectly. Now it's time to come in with our 4mm and do the same thing. All right, there we go. Multiple steps, multiple steps. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. All right, there we go. There is our line we're going to be cutting on. All right, we're going to cut this tight little corner right here on the scroll saw, but the rest are straight cuts, so we can use the bandsaw for this. Nice. That is exactly what we wanted right there. Really cool. And as you can tell, we took our template and we transferred this center cutout over to our handle. And we're going to come in with our drill bit. We're going to get a hole started here so we can feed our scroll saw blade through it and cut the inside out. All right, we've got a small little Forstner bit here. We're going to go right through the center. All right, just like that. That's all we wanted. Feed it through, just like that. All right, check it out. There we go. We've got our cool little step downs here. So what that did was that our centerpiece creates the trigger. Our 2mm pieces create this little extra step down, and our 4mm pieces create the upper step. And then when it was all done, transferred our inner hole, poked a hole through it with a Forstner bit, tore it out on the scroll saw. That fits perfect. All right, now we're going to come in and we're going to start assembling the back body part of our blaster. And what we're going to do is we're going to come in here with an 1.5 inch thick EVA foam dowel, which is 36mm, and we're going to wrap it with a 2mm piece of foam like this. And what we're going to do is we have our marks made, 12 little marks. We have our sharpened brass tube. What we're going to do is we're going to poke holes out in those spots so it looks like a vent. All right, there we go. Perfect holes, and I mean perfect. Now, when we wrap this, we're going to have this cool exhaust vent looking deal on there. Okay, so we took an extra piece of foam, we wrapped it to get a test so we know exactly what our length is. So we made a slight adjustment. We added 1/4 inch to both sides, so we've got enough distance to wrap around and touch together. Give it a few minutes and then bam, contact. Try to get this completely centered right in the middle. Slowly roll. Inch. All right, we're coming around. Looks like we're going to be perfect. All right. Let's give it a minute to dry up. Pinch our edge together just like that. All right, look at that. That's perfect. That's because we measured, added an extra tiny hair to the length, and we cut our slight bevel cut on one of the sides. And now it goes right together. Look at that. That's totally seamless. Good grief, you cannot even see it there. That is nuts. But that's good. All right, there we go. Now there's our marks. Okay, we're going to be taking our body here, and we're going to be going over to the bandsaw, and we're going to be cutting off these angles on both ends because we want both ends to have an angle cut like this. All right? All right, now what I did is I have this 3/4 inch piece of foam. Now the seam right here needs to be, it can't be down too low, it can't be up too high, because these holes have to be perfectly on the center. So since the center of this dowel is 3/4 inch, this is 3/4 inch. So if I line up my seam with the top edge of that block, just like that, we know that our piece is going to go through the saw at exactly the right angle. So let's do it. All right, there we go. Look at that. That is nice. Really nice. All right. All right, this is going to be coming in here like this, but what we're going to do first is we're going to cut out a little notch right here on the bottom of this body piece so that it has a flat side that can stick to this flat side and it'll be perfect. So let's make our mark first. All right, this is where our handle piece is going to go to. Right there and right there. Now what we need to do is we need to make a slight cut in and then a slight cut all the way down. All right, there we go. See that? We got it. Just like that. That is really cool, man. Really cool. Got our 2 spots glued, give it a couple minutes. All right, now let's lay it right down. We're gonna look right down the edge, just like this. Dig that, look at that rascal, that is crazy. Got our vent holes, got our little step downs, our trigger, our look through in the handle, our flat place to connect that. Bam! Super easy. That's about a 6mm wood dowel. We're gonna wrap it in between these 2 lines. This end is gonna stick up into another piece and this back end is gonna stick into the body. So we just wanna wrap right here. But we can't just wrap it straight or our foam is going to go straight around it. We need our foam to be on an angle. So we cut the wrap to have this shape to it. So when we wrap it, the end of the wrap is going to be on that angle we need. So that when we slide it in, it's going to meet right up there perfectly. All right. Wraps seem simple, but they're scary. This is the one thing that scares me. But when you measure and you give yourself a little bit of extra space, you're usually pretty good. Let's let it dry. And we are looking pretty good, man. Pretty good. Look at that. All right, look at that. Super tight. I don't mean tight, I mean super tight. Look at that. All right, now, see how the end of our wrap is kind of on an angle? That's because that's gonna slide in and go boop, just like that. Perfect. All right, here's our guide for how low we're going to be putting our dowel. All right, we gotta stay completely in the center of those 2 marks. So that mark is a little off, but we're going to go by these lines, okay? Now all we need is that much space drilled in. So we're going to get our drill bit out. We want our drill bit to be a little smaller than our dowel because we want the dowel to really have to wedge in there tight. Ooh, that's the one right there. This is how far we have to drill in. We're going to go a little bit further and we're going to put a piece of tape down as a marker right there. Okay, now we know we're going in a little bit further than we need, which is perfect. All right, and we are going to have at it. Whoa, that's not good. Let's get a pilot hole started. That's going to run on us. We do not want it running on us. Got a pilot hole started. All right, now let's get in there. All right, let's try it. There it is. Perfect. We're going to get a bunch of cement on the end of here so that it's wet. And we're going to spin it around so it's getting the inside of the cavity wet. All right, now we're going to bring this in and we are going to stick it down just like that. All right, look at that. That is airtight, that angle we did our wrap on. There we go. The hardest part of the build is done. And that is this, man. Wrapping the body, getting it perfect, wrapping the barrel, getting a perfect wrap. Now the rest is cake. All right, now we're gonna get a Forstner bit out and we're gonna cut a hole through this 12mm piece of foam so that it slides right on the end of here. All right, there we go. The hole is a little bit smaller than our dowel, but that's what we wanted. We wanted to be able to squeeze it on there. Now we're gonna knock that circle out real quick on the scroll saw. Spin it on there. All right, there we go. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to leave this alone for a little bit, and the wet contact cement that was inside this hole and this hole take a little bit of time. The moisture content will evaporate and the glue will stick. So we're going to leave this sit for a while so that they can dry and stick, and then we're good to go. Then we can put on the nozzle and some of the fins and all this kind of cool stuff. All right, man, look at that. Wow. Okay, we've got a 3mm piece of foam. We're gonna do a wrap right here, another wrap. So there we go. Going good, going good. That's what we wanted. Wow. Check that out. 3 seams. 1, 2, and 3, and you cannot even see the seam. Those are perfect. All right, we've got a 24mm and a 6mm. We're going to attach it together, and then let it dry, just like that. Now we're going to move over to the scroll saw, and we want to cut that out so that the side view of it has a taper. So we're going to move over to the scroll saw, we're going to tilt our table, and we're going to cut it out. All right, let's make a mark. So that... All right. Perfect. That's dead center. Get your... There we go. All right, now we've got our 4mm piece of foam with these little triangle shapes drawn on here. Really. Quarter-inch wood dowel. This end section here is going to go up inside the prop. This end is going to stick out, so we're going to knock that end off right there on the bandsaw. All right, there we go. Now what we're going to do is this. We're going to get our dust mask on, and we're going to get our Dremel out, and we're going to taper this wood dowel to a narrower end. All right, now let's get our smoother bit on. All right, there we go. It's tapered. Now what we want to do is we want to come on and we want to put this pin right into the end of this piece. So we're going to try to come in with this skinny little drill bit. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, look, it did it. That is pretty darn cool, man. All right, there we go. Slightly tapered. We've got the ball on the end. Now we're going to come in and we're going to drill a hole. And we're going to stick this in. All right, let's get a pilot hole going first. Actually, we can't get in there with the drill. Interesting. All right, now if we slide this in by hand, just like that, we're gonna have to do this by hand, but we can do it. Progressively wider bits. All right, there we go. All right, now what we're going to do is we took these skinny little 3mm pieces of foam and we made our marks. We're going to wrap these right around our piece. Because we're going to need to cut an angle off at the bottom. That. All right, there we go. We've got it anchored. All right, see that? There you go, just like that. We're going to stick it down and we're going to start wrapping it, and we're going to wrap it all the way around to the other side. And then we're just going to do all those. All right, there we go. Check that out. We cut our little strip. We cut our little 3mm strips. We cut the bottom at an angle, so that when it comes in at an angle, it meets up flush at the bottom. And we just took our time and we wrapped it around the whole piece like that with super glue. Nice. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our heat gun out. We're gonna seal this whole thing. All right, there we go, look at that. The foam tightened up, smoothed over. That is sweet. With that last little heat sealing, that brings the build portion of our Lost in Space blaster to a close. Alright, here we are out at the spray stand. We're going to coat our Lost in Space blaster with our Plastidip. And you know what we always say, don't spray, even in a well-ventilated area, without your respirator. Looking good. Really easy. Just take your time, build up your coats. All right, we're out at the spray stand. We're going to spray our Lost in Space blaster with our flat antique nickel. Sprayed our blaster with our flat antique nickel, looking good. It's got a metallic look to it. It's not too crazy insane shiny. We may even hit it with a matte finish varnish just to tone it down a little bit more. Okay, super easy. We're coming in with our apple red. And we're going to just cut in around our We'll let it dry and then we'll hit it with another coat. While that's drying, we'll come in with our satin black. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in with our sunny yellow and our white, okay? All right, there we go. We got that really, really light yellow, just like that. Look at that. All right, just like that. And that's a super thin layer, so that'll dry really fast, and then we'll coat it with a second coat. All right, there we go. We've got the second coat on our red. There we go. All right, there we go. Simple. We sprayed it with our antique nickel, and then we hit it with our clear matte finish coat just to tone down the shine a little bit. Cut in, did our trigger in black, did our little ball right here with a couple coats of red, and we just finished our second coat of our yellow-white mixture. Let's call it egg. There you go. Super easy. Easy build, easy paint job. So with that last detail on the nose there, that brings our Lost in Space blaster build to a close. Yeah, that was it. Super, super easy, what I tell you. Really, really easy. But like we mentioned during the video, kind of nervous every time I got to do a wrap that it's going to come around and match up perfectly and not have a big goofy wonky seam. But you saw how you do it. Measure it with a dry piece of foam, add a tiny little bit to your measurement, and then cut a bevel on the end. Seam, seam, seam. Yeah, you can do it. So that was it. That's about the size of it. Very cool and very easy and super fun. All right, that concludes making an EVA foam Lost in Space blaster. Hope you liked it. If you did, give us a like, share us with a friend, and subscribe to this channel. And together we're going to go step by step through a lot more super cool builds so that you get the props you deserve. Thanks for coming. See you next time.